All right. Hi, everybody. Mahalo for joining us tonight so that we can go ahead and share at our weekly Essential Island Living team call. It is the middle of July. Holy moly. Summer is almost over. So, us educators out there, I know, are all feeling sad because the end of summer is near. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. We kind of switched up our summer wellness series, um, our weekly summer wellness series, just to make way for Bogos that happened 2 weeks ago. Actually, no, can't be 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month. Holy moly, the time. So we had Bogos at the end of June, I guess maybe 3 weeks now. And it was a very welcome surprise. So tonight we're gonna just share a little bit about those Bogos. And I want to encourage everyone, even though we have a small group tonight, to use the chat or just unmute yourself to share. The slides are pretty simple. They're not going to really go in depth. So we'll just share our own personal testimonies. So the first BOGO that I'm going to talk about tonight was the Halcrism Get a Frankincense Touch. So this is the Skin Guru and the go-to. I don't know about you guys, touch rollers are some of my favorite ways to use our oils. They make topical application so easy. So I have frankincense right on my bathroom, so I can easily access that and use it. Um, Hold on one second. I need to get my app out that I was wanting to use tonight. There it is. Okay, so you bought a helichrysum and you got a free frankincense touch. So think of your helichrysum as your nurturing friend who just knows how to help your skin feel fresh, renewed, and glowing again. And really, this could be true for both of these products, both helichrysum touch and Bogo touch. Or just the oils in general. So great for all things skin. Now, just a friendly reminder, I know we talk about this a lot, but you can use helichrysum touch in your skincare routine. You can use it to soothe and repair skin blemishes and irritated skin. You can inhale it. I have to be honest, I don't really use helichrysum for like the aromatic purposes. However, it does have a very nice, warm, grounding aroma. And here's a suggestion to use while journaling. I just want to give some friendly reminders of the ways that I tend to use helichrysum the most. Oopsie. And that really is for burns and for open bleeding wounds. So I went to Cliff House maybe now like 2 weeks ago, and I jumped off the cliff because I think I'm all tantaran, and my foot, I jumped. It must have, where I jumped was not as deep as I thought it was. And luckily I didn't get too hit up, but I hit the reef and my foot scraped up on it. And I had a huge, like, bleeding gash in my toe. Like it's still healing. It was really deep. I mean, it took out a chunk of skin. So when I got up off the rocks, I immediately put some tea tree in it to kind of like just clean out, disinfect it a little bit. And I put Helosum right on top. And luckily, I always have, and sometimes I do, but I had my little kit. So I had my keychain with tea tree and Helicum, which are in my top 10 oils. And then I had Correct X and I had Band Aids. So I was able to just wrap it up. And that has been my go to protocol, changing that out 2 to 3 times a day. And my toe is finally almost healed up. But that bleeding definitely went down because of the helichrysum touch. I'm sorry, the helichrysum. Now, in that situation, I probably wouldn't use a touch because I wouldn't want it to get on the blood. So if you ever have just the touch, but you want the oil, just pop the top off of the touch and pour it onto the open wound, right? But the helichrysum touch is going to be like I could probably use it now because it's not bleedy, it's not oozy, it's healing up. So rather than dropping a drop of helichrysum, I could just rub the touch on, or I could even put the touch onto the band-aid. That's another option, right? Is using the touches right on top of the band-aid. So I really feel like this oil is a must-have in your emergency kit. It is one of my top 10 oils for sure. Um, so just using a little app here, um, just a reminder that some of the properties for helichrysum are really powerful: antibacterial, anticoagulant, which is why it's so great to help reducing when we have a bleed, antioxidant, antiviral. It's also an expectorant. So when we think about anything that we need to expel out of our bodies, helichrysum can also be helpful for an expectorant, which means that it can be useful for respiratory support as well. Yeah. And actually, in historical, helichrysum has been used for asthma, for bronchitis, for whooping cough. And so that kind of shows how it can also be very supportive for the respiratory system when we often think about it just for the touch. Sorry, for the skin. Um, and let's see, as far as emotional support, helichrysum can also help with anger management as well, applying it topically to your pressure points, inhaling it. Again, we already mentioned the bleeding, circulatory functions. There is quite a bit here about stimulating liver cell function and how it could, in historically, helichrysum has been used for liver support as well, scar tissue, regenerative tissue, varicose veins. So anytime you're wanting to heal or repair the skin, like I mentioned earlier, burns, when people have gotten gnarly burns, I always, always, always recommend helichrysum. It's a really, really powerful oil. So I'm going to check. Yeah, Kanani said, yes, nosebleeds. It works great. So I've never used it for that. So I'd be interested. I know you guys have talked about it before. I would say, always on the outside of the nose, but I would imagine just if you have a touch, just rolling it onto your fingers, using it that way. Possibly even again, opening it up, putting it on, tissue or paper towel as well, can be helpful. All right. You know what, John? I'm using the Modern Essentials app, so I would look more into that. But there comes a lot up about liver, and it says French medicinal uses were blood cleansing, chelating agent for metallics, chemicals, and toxins, viral colitis, detoxification, gallbladder infection, hematoma, liver cell function stimulant, lymph drainage, pancreas stimulant. So definitely a lot more beyond the skin than we've traditionally thought in terms of the use of helichrysum. All right, moving on. You got a free helichrysum, or you bought a helichrysum touch. You got a free frankincense touch. So it's funny because I actually had frankincense touch on my like need to buy replace list, and so instead I bought a helichrysum touch and I got a free frank touch, and I thought, gosh, how awesome is that, right? So your no drama friend who shows up with exactly what you need every single time. Ah, Frankie, Frankie, Frankie. One of those oils that's probably like, deserted island. I'd have a hard time leaving peppermint behind, but if I could take peppermint and Frank, that would probably be, the way I would go. So, three ways to use frankincense touch. Again, we know it's very deeply grounding, woodsy oil that we can use during meditation or yoga or just even breathing or journaling. It can be used to pause and reset with its calming aroma. I feel like we all probably use frankincense so much that it is one of those oils that tends to ground us quickly. And then, of course, we know how much benefit there is for frankincense on our skin. Is talked about using her on her eyes and improving her eyesight. One of the ways that I have always thought about Frankincense is support for the brain, healthy brain function. So anytime you're thinking about anything cognitive, memory. I remember when my stepdaughter was playing soccer and got concussions. This is definitely like the go-to oil for that. So I know we talk about Frank a lot. So just a reminder, like I said, um, it is also listed. I wonder if it's okay to just read off of this. I mean, I know it's okay with you guys, but just like in terms of compliance. But the essential modern essentials book, does say that historically frankincense was a holy oil in the Middle East as an ingredient in the holy incense. It was used anciently during ceremonies to help with communication. It's anti-cancer, antidepressant, anti-infectious, huge one, anti-inflammatory, right? Antiseptic, anti-tumor. Again, it's an expectorant. It can help stimulate the immune system, and it can also be used as a sedative, which a natural sedative, which is why I think we know we can lean into it for all its grounding purposes. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Frank because we just know how amazing it is. Karan says I'm totally in love with Frank. I have it everywhere. I cannot live without this oil. So I agree. So just remember, if you are in a situation where you need an oil, but all you have is a touch, just go ahead and use the cap of the touch to kind of shimmy off the roller part, and you can access the oil there. It might be diluted with coconut oil, but that's totally fine. You can still, if it's an oil that can be taken internally, like Frank, it's totally fine. Um, but you can also apply that typically that way too if you're needing to. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to, I think Kanan was gonna take copaiba and lavender. So I'll
Yes.
go ahead and just tell me when to switch the slide.
Okay, got it. So we bought Copaiba, another wonderful touch oil. Same, I agree with Liza, 1000%. Can't live without the touch oils. They are just so, so easy. And then we got a lavender free. So one of my customers was like, I just really want the lavender. I don't really use Copaiba. Like, what do I do with Copaiba? So, anyways, it was the perfect opportunity to educate, of course, because I thought, wow, I actually use a lot of Copaiba. I'm kind of in shock. But anyways, Bogos again give us this perfect opportunity to teach and share, right? So Copaiba, I spent a little bit on this when thanks Liza, when we talked about the mouth, right? So like anything pain related is great. This the steady friend who brings out your best, amplifying calm, supporting your body, helping everything work a little more smoothly. So the supporter. Um, it's kind of like no wonder they paired Copaiba and Deep Blue together, right? The the extra support that it provides. Um, pain, as I was talking about, like it just makes sense that they put it with the Deep Blue stick. But when you're using it alone, anything pain related, I'm dealing with such a big issue in my neck right now because I've been working way more than I should be on patients. But Copaiba has been my jam along with Frank. So I'm happy Liza shared about that. I think there's another slide, right, Liz? Okay, yeah. So, how can we use it? We can roll it on our pulse points, inhale as a reminder to breathe. Again, very, very grounding. Comfort for your muscles, which we talked about. No wonder why doTERRA was so smart to pair it with Deep Blue. Dab behind your ears or temples after a long day of travel to reset and balance. That is something I don't do, but that's actually a good idea because we will be traveling on Monday. Um, Copaiba, the emotional part of it, it's the oil of unveiling. So if you have your emotions book, that's what I really like to go back and look at. Copaiba, one of the things that I highlighted in my book is Copaiba invites those who have done something that causes guilt or shame to undergo appropriate remorse and then move on, remembering that forgiveness of self is also necessary. So, obviously, there's a lot more if you have this book, but I love to go back to the emotion side of the oils, um, because we talked about, the pain part of it. It does support inflammation. I think the next slide, maybe. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, anyways, it does support inflammation, the inflammatory response. So, wisdom teeth, what we talked about, rolling it on the jaws, but even for babies, as they're teething, the gums get really puffy, it gets inflamed, they get fussy. This oil is very calming and soothing. So, rubbing it right on their gums usually just does the trick. At least it did for Cody. Um, I don't have pets, but I know all my mommy friends that love their fur babies. Copaiba is an oil that they use a lot. Again, pain related. My auntie actually Reiki's her dog and uses Copaiba and Frank Touch. Like it is on her monthly order. And she's just like, Sam cannot live without Copaiba and the touch. That's what she does. She doesn't want to have to think about diluting. So if you have pets, that's another great suggestion. Um, just saw something in the chat, I think. Do you dilute copaiba for the babies when using for the gums? The roller is already diluted, but honestly, I have my little Copaiba bottle here because I use it so much. But Cody would like grab for it, and I would just take the cap off, and he would just like gnaw on it. I don't know like if that's the best advice I should give people, but that's just really what helped him. That having a little bit of the copaiba oil, well, this is the newer spouts, but having a little bit of the copaiba oil on it, and he would just like gnaw on it, and I would just rub his gums. But the touch is perfect, especially for mommies who are like, should I dilute? How much do I dilute? I'm not quite sure. Touch is perfect. Rub it a little bit on your finger and just rub on the gums. And it always did great for Cody. Um, oh, Bernice, yeah, awesome suggestion. Would she do some Reiki lessons? I don't know. That's a great question. She offers Reiki. So if you ever wanted Reiki, Liza's gone a couple times. I try to go every few months. I used to be way more regular, but my kids go. I make my kids go, and it really, really helps them. And she uses a ton of copaiba and frank on everybody, not just the animals. That's like her go-to oils. So let's talk about lavender. That's what you got free. So I just thought this was a great combo because they're both very calming. Copaiba more woodsy, grounding, lavender floral, but again, both very calming properties. We know so much about lavender, right, you guys? All the things calming, so perfect for babies and littles, so gentle, very, very safe. Treat our dogs, our fur babies, like they're infants, right? Because they're so sensitive. So again, a perfect oil for dogs. I can't speak on any other animal, but perfect oil for dogs. Um, Ways to use it: you can roll it on your wrist, neck, chest at the end of the day as you gently shift into the evening mode, and you want to just kind of calm and reset and relax. Roll onto minor skin irritations, sun-kissed skin for soothing comfort, which that has been happening a lot, right? We're summer and beach and pool and all the things. So rolling onto your little's pillow is perfect. I like to do bottoms of the feet. My boys aren't, I will just be super honest, they are not big lavender fans. They're just not. I don't mind it. but my kids are like, no thanks. So I don't rub it on them often, except it came in super handy when we were in Hana and Colby got stung by a wasp. And I was so happy to have my lavender, and I just rolled it was on his neck, and I just rolled it like a lot, and it really did calm it down, and it wasn't so painful. And yeah, that was one of the go-to's. I was so happy to have it. And this, I honestly can't, I don't travel a lot with it because my boys don't really care for it, but I was happy to have it because it is a natural antihistamine. So any itchy bite, anything like that, where you need an antihistamine to come into play, lavender is perfect for that. You probably know this already. It's in our emotions book, but lavender is the oil of communication and calm. So if you are struggling to communicate or getting anxious, you have to have a big talk with your teenager, you have to have a big talk with your spouse, your boss, whatever. Um, Lavender is great to roll over your heart, on your wrist. It encourages emotional honesty and insists that one speak their innermost thoughts and desires. That's just one of the things I highlighted in the book. All right. If you have questions, pop it in the chat and we're going to move on.
Okay, I'm going to share passion. So if you order the passion, you get the free cheer. These two oils, well, first of all, passion, of course, is a emotional oil as well. It belongs in that aromatherapy group. So for me, I use passion. I think that's why Kate asked me to share because I love this oil. Like I use it every day. Look, I use it as a like a perfume, but I also use it because um it has like a very motivating to me, it feels like it motivates me to become like bold throughout the day and like and it actually says it'll help you take risks, become very passionate. And I think in my job as a teacher, I try to maintain that. So using passion really helps a lot. Um, and also it's just the ingredients in it is really yummy. So like cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, clove, sandalwood, jasmine, vanilla, and damiana flower. So really, really, there's spicy, but yet there's like this calming and just sweet smelling. Like you just wanna feel very like it's almost like uplifting and positive, and you just have this drive, like you wanna just you know try new things. So I feel like this definitely ignites, like it says, ignites joy, love, and bold ideas. So we turn to the next slide. It says the ways to use them. You can diffuse it. So I like to like rub it. So I know you get the 5 ml, but the roller is really good, very convenient. Um, but if you want to use it like in your room, or like I would use it in my office, like my office, and I would use that diffused in my diffuser, and it just like helps me to like kind of stay in the present moment and think about things. And so that helps me, you know, it just helps my mind stay really focused and calm, you know, and feel really good about the things that I'm doing. It says rub on pulse points. Yeah, I do that with the roller. I usually do it in the morning because it helps me start my day. And then sometimes, of course, like if I want to feel that same drive again in the evening when I'm doing like a project or working on things for school or something. So I'll rub again, like just to have that same motivation. Um, and I like to use the emotional book as well. So it says like it encourages individuals to take risks, to confidently face their fears, and to break free from limitations that they place on themselves. So this is like a great oil, especially for people who, feel a little bit timid, or they feel like, oh my God, I got a presentation tomorrow. Like, you can do it. This is the passion. This is the oil for feeling brave or something. So anyway, um, yeah. Anyway, so this is. Shall I go with the cheer? I don't know if you want me to do that. Okay. So anyway, so I also use cheer. That's two of the oils I use in the morning. So cheer is, like it says, the cheerleader. Like it helps pep you up. It helps you keep, like, all right, this is gonna be a great day. You're feeling positive, and I think the color yellow too makes you feel like that sunny, bright, and cheerful. You feel cheerful, and I think they've picked a perfect color for this oil. Um, let's see what else it says. So it's saying it's here to keep the environment uplifted and merry during dull moments by passing around its aroma with your friends and family. I totally agree with that because I think during the summer I was feeling a little like, it was very great to be on break, but I have to actually say that I really was actually excited to go back to school. I really was like, because I think last summer we had our rooms clean and we couldn't get into our rooms till like closest to the day we started. But this summer we were like, oh my God, our classes are ready. So I was able to go in there and I used cheer a lot to help me motivate myself to get going. Like, this is exciting. Like, I'm happy. So this is a happy oil for me. If you want to be cheerful and happy and get out the door, use this oil. Um, anyway, thanks.
Thanks, Jan. I love that. And I also want to say, Bernice said, do you make your own roller? You can. I always suggest that if doTERRA makes a roller of something, you buy that roller and then you just refill it rather than, some of us probably might, I have probably like 10 peppermint rollers like everywhere. So I'm buying them from doTERRA and then I do refill them. But but you can make your own as well. As far as how many drops, doTERRA doesn't really share how many drops go into there. So I would just make it based on what you like in terms of the intensity of the smell. Yeah. All right. So the next BOGO set, wild orange is the oil that I use tonight. And you guys, I feel like everyone on the team, it's actually, I have a question for you because I know Kate is Serenity. I know Kanani is on guard. I would actually want to ask Amanda and Miley and Jai, like, what is their number one? But in the comments, if you're on this call, tell me what like your number one oil is. Because I feel like everybody knows that my number one is peppermint. Like, I freaking love peppermint for everything. Um, and the go-getter, that's probably not far off from the truth. And I love that they deemed wild orange the optimist. So you buy a peppermint, you get a wild orange free. These two oils together are incredible. I love the mint citrus combos in general. I love spearmint and citrus bliss together, spearmint and tangerine together. Like, I just love the combo of the mint and the citrus. Um, so I mean, peppermint, your energizer bestie, keeping you cool, focused, and ready to take action. Listen, I use peppermint on my toothbrush. I actually don't love the Supermint toothpaste, and if I use Supermint, I don't have to put the peppermint on there. When I use the On Guard toothpaste, I still use the peppermint on there. I use peppermint behind my ears, under my nose, on my temples throughout the day for sure. Energizing, any head tension. I actually use a lot of peppermint not a lot for this purpose, but I use peppermint as my go-to for any digestive issues. So I know later my mom's going to be sharing about digestin and tamer. I don't use a lot of digestin at all. I do use tamer. I love tamer. My kids love tamer. But for me, when my digestive system is giving me any issues, it's peppermint, peppermint, peppermint all the way. So here are some other practical uses. This particular one, I think you can use with any oil that you love, but you add a few drops of cotton ball, stick in your car's AC vent to circulate and refresh, energizing aroma while the car cools down. So I will say that in the past when we've had issues with our AC, using peppermint in diffusers and stuff is also something else that I like to do. Massage it to the bottoms of your feet with fractionated coconut oil to help soothe hot skin after walking around barefoot. I've actually never heard that tip, but that totally makes sense. I think deep blue stick, anything with menthol would be soothing in this capacity. And then pressing a drop to the top of your mouth is a midday refresher. I definitely do that. I do I'll do dobongs. And I also do this same that the thumb to the top of your mouth for that like brain stem connection. I also do with frankincense. Those are probably the two oils that I do that the most with. So peppermint is just I just love peppermint. Love, love, love. Not much else I can say about pepper. I mean, there's so many more uses for peppermint. Put some in your tea, put some in your brownies. It's such a great oil. I just love it so much. I don't use as well. You know what? This might be my most used citrus. I don't know why the slide is like this, kapakahi like this. But Orange, the optimist, the sunshine friend who brings lightness, laughter, and positivity wherever you go. I probably should use wild orange more. I This is probably my most used citrus. This said lemon. I do use a lot of lemon as well, but I love wild orange. Like if there's an oil that somebody's going to ask me, like, what's an oil that's going to make me feel happy? Like I had somebody I was working with on protocols. It's actually a male. And he was like, he got locked in on his LLV and his PB Restore and his adaptive. I actually posted his testimony on my stories today. It was really, really powerful. I'll read it to you guys. But he asked for what's like an oil that I can go to just lift my mood and brighten my spirits. And I was like, wild orange for sure. So, three ways to use. So we know citruses are cleansing and detoxifying. We know that we can use them for cleaning and disinfecting and all of the things. I love this idea though. Pass around to kids. Let it be like a smell that helps to inspire them to create. Adding this essential oil or any essential oil that makes you happy, passion, cheer to a DIY sugar scrub. Adding to smoothie for energizing kick and to support immune health. So just a multitude of uses for the oil, but ultimately, like wild orange is it's just happy. It's just a happy, happy, happy oil. I love it so much. Okay, so before I turn over to my mom, let me check the chat real quick. Oh, Felicia Aroma Touch. Okay. Max is Malama and Bernice is Frank. I like it. Mom is number one. Frank, it says Caleb Geranium. Okay, Jan, yours is Passion. You're number one. I know Kehaus is Lang Lang. Kanan says Forever on Guard. Cannot live without Frank Oil Roller Stick. Okay. I would also say Annually Deep Blue is probably up there too, but okay. And then John says next after Passion is Frank. Okay. Can't live without it. Okay. Okay. So basically like your number one oil is your like I'm going to a deserted island and I'm taking one oil. And although I know I should take frankincense, I'm taking peppermint. All right. Here we go. Let me know, Mom, when you want me to hit the slides.
Yeah. Hi. I got a chance to showcase two of my oils that I use a lot of, and they're you bought the digestin, you got the tamer for free, and that's a great combination. And the the little slides here are saying that one's called the fixer and the other's the gentle guardian, and I have to probably say that's probably really true because I do use a lot of digestin. Like I go through a bottle of digestin oil, like I'm on the bottom of this, um, because I use it for a lot of different things. Besides just putting it on my stomach area and then in my belly button when I'm, um, feeling a little off or had something too rich to eat. Uh, I know that it's not my favorite oil to smell. And the reason for it is because it's got some really strong, powerful oils. But when I need to, I use the Gentle Guardian, the tamer, just for some light things, like you'll have a little bit of indigestion, nothing major. But go ahead and move the slide. Thanks. So the fixer, it is like a reliable friend. It knows what to fix when you need it the most. Like we just had some Hawaiian food this past week, and then I just like overate, and then all of a sudden you're just feeling so heavy and bloated. Just go, okay, what's going to take care of this? It's like the fixer comes in and just does it like in a jiffy. And the thing that I don't really like about it is but it does the trick. It's got some very powerful smelling oils. For example, it has fennel in it. It has caraway and coriander and cardamom. So, but definitely I'm not a fennel girl, so it's not my most favorite oil to put on. So if I'm in mixed company with people, I will take my tamer with me and use that. You can change to the next slide. So you can inhale the digestin from the bottle to give you some soothing aroma. Um, like it says, if you've eaten too much, rub it under your wrists and abdomen. Definitely rub it on my abdomen. And then before giving a presentation or performance, it actually does help bring down your muscles to calm them. And so it is a really soothing oil in that respect. Next slide. So the next one is the Gentle Guardian. And before we go forward, I want to tell you there are two oils that are the same in both the digestin and in the tamer, and that is ginger essential oil. And in the digestin, there's peppermint, but in the tamer, there's Japanese peppermint. So most of you have had the Japanese peppermint, and you can smell that it's a lot calmer or not as pungent a fragrance or as strong a fragrance as the regular peppermint is. And that's the difference. But the ginger is the calming effect for both. And um, a little trick that I use, you can go ahead and change to the next slide. Little trick that I use, because digestin moves your blood around, it kind of gets things moving again. When I get a stuffy nose, I actually use a tamer right over my nose. You can't do the digestin there, but you can put it underneath your cheeks, and it will help to bring down swelling, believe it or not. So I think it's a really great thing to have as far as the tamer is concerned with children, especially because kids really, they overeat or they get really upset tummies really easily, like it says in long car rides. So this is a really um, good oil to have with you. Next slide. I think that was it, actually. Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you. Let's see. Anything in the chat? Oh, yeah, Bernice said great suggestion. Yeah, so if we're thinking about helping to move or drain. That's why digestion and or tamer can be used, right? For also helping to clear out the sinuses. So there were two really cool gifts that we got. If you bought all of the Bogos at one time in the Bogo box, you actually got a box. You actually got 3 wooden box, which was really cool for all your oils. And then any 150 PV order during this time, which meant you could get a Bogo or two and then add on some other products, got you a free Roman chamomile. So Roman chamomile is known as the peacemaker. Think of this as your soft-spoken friend who brings peace to your heart, helping you find emotional harmony and calm whenever you need it. So 3 ways to use Roman chamomile: rub onto your pulse points before or after tense days, adding to your favorite moisturizer, shampoo, or conditioner, adding to your water or tea before bedtime to support a restful night's sleep. I have to be honest, I've never used Roman chamomile internally, like ever before. I will say that Roman chamomile is often a note that comes up to help support restful sleep, especially with babies. It's also that besides copaiba is recommended, and lavender is recommended to put on the jawline to help support as well. Anybody else want to add? This is not an oil that I use frequently. It's definitely not an oil that I use frequently. Anybody want to share their favorite way to use Roman chamomile? Or
I use my Roman chamomile on my dog. So like when we
oh,
have the fireworks we just had, like I would diffuse it first, like a few days or like a week before, so she's
mhm.
used to it, and then I would rub it on on her back, and then yeah, she's calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just looked it up in the Modern Essentials app too, and it sounds like it's really good for helping to just reduce, like it says, stings, specifically bee and hornet stings, but calming, muscle spasms, sciatica. So it sounds like it can be very helpful in that kind of calming way as well. It's anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic, anti-spasmodic, which would mean like help reduce spasms, muscle twitching, that kind of thing, calming and relaxing. So, and then French medicinal uses says intestinal parasites, shock, neuritis. So interesting. Roman chamomile can actually help to neutralize allergies and increase the ability of the skin to regenerate. It's a cleanser of the blood, can help the liver to reject poisons and to discharge them. This oil may help with allergies, bruises, cuts, depression, insomnia, muscle tension, nerves, calming and promoting nerve health, restless legs, skin conditions, which we know, and it's mild enough to use on infants and children. So really, really, really interesting to learn more about an oil that I have, but I really just don't use as often. All right, everybody. I made a teacher mistake and I did not put in the updated schedule for our calls for the rest of the week. So or the rest of the month. So I'm pretty sure that one is incorrect. So this week we did Bogos. So next week is going to still be women's hormones with Amanda. And then on the 30th, we're going to have Kate on the call for back to school with Kate, right before we kick off the week of welcoming students back. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Let's see, anything else? Bernice said thank you. Kanan says she doesn't use Roman chamomile often. It was recommended for Cody, but it really helped, but it didn't really help calm him. He loved Frank. The same with Zai. Lots of people recommended. Lavender did not help, but frankincense and balance were definitely the go-tos for him. So just remember that not everybody's going to have the same results. And so, like tonight for digestive support, we talked about 3 powerhouses: peppermint, digestion, and tamer that can all help with that. So, when in doubt, just remember that there are a multitude of oils. Yep. Practical, useful oil info. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Kanan, for sharing tonight. We love you guys. See you next week for women's hormones. Okay, bye.